Twilight versus the Homeowners Association. An inspection, 2 bits, and an autograph.
Hello?
Twilight asked as she tilted her head, confused by the 3 ponies standing outside her castle.
Can I help you?
Yes, you certainly can.
A white stallion with pepper-black hair dotted with white speckles answered.
My name is Picky Paper, and these are my associates, Motormouth and Record Keeper. Nice to meet you, Miss Sparkle.
Record Keeper said politely yet flatly, all business as she extended her hoof to the alicorn.
That's Princess Sparkle, but it's nice to meet you as well.
Twilight said nervously, as she carefully shook hooves with each of the 3. Actually, you can't be a princess, seeing as neither of your parents are descendants of royalty, Motormouth said factually. Not to mention, you hardly look like a princess. I mean, you're so short for a princess and you have unbrushed bed hair. It looks like you just woke up.
Well, I did, actually.
Twilight said, already frowning at the 3 of them.
But what is this all about? What are you 3 doing here?
Well, simply put,
Picky Paper started.
We're here with Ponyville's Homeowner Association to discuss your, residence.
This?
The mayor asked, slightly confused, before smiling and continuing.
My castle isn't a residence, it's a government building. Just like Princess Celestia's castle on Canterlot and Cadence's castle in the Crystal Empire. So, sorry, guys.
Record Keeper stepped forward and, with a very intimidating look, asked,
Miss Sparkle.
That's Princess Sparkle, please.
The alicorn got out as she took a step back, Record Keeper trying to close the distance between them.
Where do you exactly live?
Ponyville, obviously.
The mayor answered, clearly avoiding the question.
But I don't see how.
And what building in Ponyville might that be again?
Well, this one, but that doesn't.
Well, according to Ponyville statutes, a home is defined as any residence that's continually inhabited for at least 180 days of the year. It's safe to say that you've stayed in this residence that long, correct?
Well, yes, but.
So then if that's the case, since it falls within the boundaries of Ponyville, it's required that it abides by the codes set in the Ponyville Homeowners Association, or you'll be fined accordingly and or your castle will be demolished.
I didn't opt in to be a part of the HOA. And the Equestrian Charter that was written when Celestia became ruler says that I can't.
You're a part of the Ponyville HOA by default, whether or not you opted into being a member, Motormouth told her. You accepted membership by placing your castle within city limits. As a Pino, I'd think you know these things, Miss Sparkle.
Wait, what? What's a Pino?
Princess in name only. As I said, you're not related to authority, and I can't see how Celestia made you Princess of all ponies, seeing as you hardly govern anything. You only sit with your friends all day and eat hay fries from what I've seen. It looks like all the weight's gone to your flanks, honestly.
No, it hasn't! And I do more than that. I've been actually working on some. You know what? Actually, no. I'm not getting into this. Show me what's wrong with my castle, and I'll get it fixed, and you'll be out of my mane quicker.
With pleasure, Miss Sparkle.
Picky Paper responded, sounding as though he'd be better talking to any pony else.
Not to mention, Miss Sparkle.
Record Keeper started as she listed off yet another thing wrong with the outside of her property.
Princess Sparkle.
Twilight corrected her with an obviously annoyed huff for what felt like the millionth time that day.
The bylaws clearly state that grass should be no taller than 1 centimeter in height. This grass is almost certainly a good 3 to 4 centimeters. Oh wow, is it?
The alicorn said flatly, not even bothering to write down the complaints with the 3 ponies listed anymore.
I never would have noticed.
Well, maybe you need a pair of glasses then, Motormouth suggested, almost oblivious to her obvious sarcasm. If you're having vision problems, you should go see the eye doctor. Maybe you can also talk to them about your increased risk of heart disease and diabetes from all those hay burgers. It's bound to have an effect on your health.
Yes, and so will all the nagging that you 3 are doing.
Twilight frustratedly told them.
Why does all this stuff even matter? It's just grass, and my grass at that. How does having it more than 1 centimeter hurt you?
Well, the same way a lost library book will hurt you, Miss Sparkle.
Picky Paper replied.
It might not seem harmful to some, but rules were meant to be followed, and these are the rules that you must abide by.
But library books aren't the same as the height of grass.
She tried to argue, but was ignored.
Anyways, our bylaws also state that you can have your place of residence ridiculous colors.
He continued.
So we do expect that to be repainted at some point.
Oh, come on! How is this a ridiculous color?
She asked, completely fed up.
That's not something any individual can determine.
Yes, it is, and we've determined it. If you want, we can bring you a list of approved colors. Most of them are shades of white and off-white, although there are a few browns and grays in there.
Yeah, well, I say that your colors are ridiculous. I guess that means that you can't use those for your houses, which means every pony in Ponyville is in violation of the HOA's bylaws.
That's not how it works, Miss Sparkle.
Record Keeper started.
Princess! It's Princess Sparkle, as granted by Princess Celestia herself!
She wasn't normally this aggressive, but the ponies of the Ponyville HOA had been pushing her all morning. Still, even as she said it, they largely ignored her as they had been.
Seeing as you're not a member of the Homeowners Association,
She finished simply.
Then how can you just—
As we said, Motormouth started, if you were listening, you're in Ponyville city limits, so you have to abide by the HOA's bylaws. If you'd like to have a say in what bylaws are changed or vote on things in regards to your property, you have to submit a formal registration with the association. I mean, a book-smart pony like you should know that, right? I can't believe that we actually had to tell you.
Fine, whatever! Where do I submit to become a member? This is ridiculous.
We're not accepting new membership registrations at this time, he said quickly, holding the most bored expression on his face as he possibly could. Besides, I'm not sure a pony like you would even have time to attend meetings, seeing as you like to—
I swear, if you make one more comment about me going to Hayburger, I'm going to explode.
I hardly think you'll physically explode as you suggest, Miss Sparkle, he said. Although if you did, it wouldn't surprise me if it was because— She turned her head in his direction and gave him a death glare, one that made him stop his sentence in his tracks. He then continued on. Well, anyways, you can make a complaint if you like. Our office is in a joint office with Mayor Mayor's, and all requests should be reviewed and responded to in 6 to 8 weeks. Now if we continue on— Twilight tried her best to pay attention and not go off on the three of them, and somehow managed to make it through the entire viewing of her property, watching as they pointed out every little thing wrong with it. She wasn't one to complain about rules, far from it actually. In fact, in most cases, she'd be the pony most knowledgeable to go about rules of some sort. She understood the importance of rules and why they were meant to be followed, however, some of the rules they listed were just out there. Signs couldn't be put up unless they were painted against a red background, you couldn't carry open food containers outside, just things that made absolutely no sense to the mayor. And the three of them didn't give much of an explanation on why the rules were in place, only that they were and they expected them to be followed.
honestly, Miss Sparkle, this castle is quite the eyesore, to say the least.
Picky told her.
It's an eyesore.
She asked, completely flabbergasted by the notion.
How in the wide, wide world of Equestria is my castle an eyesore?
It's quite out of place in a town like Ponyville.
Record keeper said.
Honestly, I don't see why you couldn't have kept the Golden Oaks Library here instead. It was much better suited for this town than that thing.
She pointed a hoof at the castle as she said it and frowned, clearly not particularly pleased about the change.
You think I tried to get Tarek to destroy my home?
The princess asked angrily. Well, you certainly didn't do a good job preventing it, Motormouth responded. I mean, honestly, as some pony who's expected to defend Equestria from harm, you do a pretty poor job sometimes.
Anyways, I'd say it's about time that we inspect the inside, shall we?
Picky Paper got out.
What would you want to do with the inside?
The Alicorn asked.
No HOA I know of ever inspects the inside of a home. You might be able to say what the outside looks like, but the inside is off limits.
We need to make sure the ceilings are in accordance with regulations, and the windows are properly tinted and such. If you would so kindly lead the way?
Honestly, Miss Sparkle, I'd say it's pretty arrogant to have stained glass portraits of yourself on your windows, Motormouth told her. But then again, I'm not a Pinot.
And it's fairly rude to make a comment about every little thing.
She shot back with severe annoyance.
But then again, I'm not a Motormouth, am I?
Just making an astute observation,
In any case,
Picky Paper said.
there's no rule against stained glass windows unless they're able to be seen outside the residence. But they are quite tacky, to say the least.
And the ceilings are well within the bounds of what the bylaws require, if not well above.
Record keeper noted.
Although honestly, I must say it makes you look quite pretentious, Miss Sparkle, but we have no bylaws against that, luckily for you. Although these doors aren't in regulation, I must say.
Picky Paper said.
We require all Ponyville doors to open inwards for safety purposes.
Well, they used to open inwards, but I read a study that says—
As well, we disallow the use of fluorescent light bulbs because they're known to be quite dangerous if broken, due to their mercury content, so those will have to be changed out.
Well, according to Equestria Daily, fluorescent bulbs actually save quite a bit of—
Not to mention,
He added.
artwork featuring political figures is not allowed in or on the premise of any residence. That will have to be taken down, Miss Sparkle.
Oh, come on! That's Princess Celestia, for fout's sake!
She complained.
Yes, some pony who's a very notable political figure.
Record keeper noted.
Regulations require you to take it down.
According to the rules, normally we'd ask you to take down the pictures of you, Motormouth said. But we've decided to grant you this exception considering that you are the pony in question. But those other 5 ponies that are your friends will have to come down too.
Okay, you know what I—
Plus it seems there's a bit of a smell in here, or is it coming from you? Have you had a shower yet today, Miss Sparkle?
Enough!
The mayor finally yelled, causing the trio to jump in surprise.
My word!
Record keeper gasped, showing hints of emotion for the first time all morning.
I would never expect such things from some pony who's a member of royalty, let alone a princess.
Well, to be fair, she is a Pinot, Motormouth muttered.
Quiet!
The mare yelled, which made all three flinch back and stare at her in silence.
I don't care anymore. I don't want you here. Just tell me what the fine is so I can pay you and you can leave.
Well, if you're gonna be so rude about it.
Picky Paper started, sounding offended.
The cost of ignoring the HOA's bylaws is 2 bits.
Twilight blinked at them, expecting more to be said, and when they silently stared back, she asked.
2 bits? That's it? 2 bits. That's per year, to be clear.
Record Keeper informed her.
And payment must be made in full.
Of course, however, we have recently added the ability to accept checks if you prefer, Miss Sparkle.
It would be made payable to the Ponyville Homeowners Association. Of course, we can't delay payment, unfortunately.
Picky Paper explained.
We do expect the amount in full at the start of each year from here on out, unless you make the required changes to your residence. Missing the deadline will result in this building being repossessed and demolished.
Not that it shouldn't be demolished, Motormouth said. It's quite tacky and, as previously mentioned, an eyesore. Quite like yourself, Miss Sparkle.
No, you don't need to do that. I have my payment right here.
As she said it, she quickly floated over her checkbook and quill, taking no time at all to scribble what she needed onto the piece of paper.
There, all done.
She said and gave it to them.
Now, you can't bother me in my castle for the next 50 years.
100 bits then? Unfortunately, we can't accept payments for future years. However, we can take this as a donation to the HOA if you'd like. Although, don't think that this will get you any special privileges, Miss Sparkle. I know how you princesses operate.
Although some would say they operate on too many hayburgers and should try a salad, Miss Sparkle.
Fine, whatever, keep the donation, just get out of my mane, please.
Well, if you insist on being rude about it, Motormouth said. Although before we do leave, we must ask one more thing. She looked at him with an expression that told him that she didn't want to hear his question as he asked with complete confidence. Can we have an autograph? I wonder if they really were part of the Homeowners Association, because that last part at the end, they could have been doing that as a prank, or they legitimately could have been doing it just to trick her into getting an autograph. Certainly a clever, if not creative way of doing it. Anyways, let's get on to our law-abiding donators. Top donators: Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, Gauntlet, and Only One Thing. TacoCat598, Zart630, Strix, Rayden, Narwhals, Black Moonheart, Drake Lovedragon, Pastel Skies, Austin Roland, CrazyClaire557, Stu Hex, Will, Omicron Lyre, Daspo, Delta Omega, Jack Hatch, RuneSlife9852, Madman Stan, Leslie Prickett, Hunted Woman, Stephen Bingham, LineGod12, Sorcerer Constantine, Hud Zaza, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.